If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out eafc.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. So, what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. Hope you guys are doing great. We're on the second count again today, and I'm just going to be showing you guys my new 4-3-2-1 custom tactics and player instructions. Instructions aren't too different to usual, but we have made a few tweaks to the tactics, just to keep up with what we're comfortable with at the moment. But yeah, just before we get into the video guys, I would very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up, because it does really help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Also sub to the channel if you are new, and yeah, let's get right into the video guys. I hope you enjoy. Alright then guys, so starting off with the tactics for the defensive style, as always I have this on balance. Now I like balance because it does give me the most control when I am defending. That's what I feel anyway. It feels like when I want to press my opponent I can, and then when I want to drop off and maybe be a little bit more passive I can also do that. If you guys prefer like pressure tactics because you're better with them, or that's what you like, that is absolutely fine. You can use them, but we just go with balance. Now for the defensive width guys, at the moment we're keeping this on 48. It's a bit higher than usual. I've said this a bit recently, but I've noticed people going down the wing even more than usual. I don't know if it's to do with like gameplay changes or what, but people are just really going down the wing, so I've had to up that width to about 48. There's not really a specific number you need to use, but I'd suggest anywhere from like 40 to 50. You don't want to make it too wide, otherwise you're just way too open in the middle. So this keeps it somewhat compact, but also has good coverage of the wider areas. For the depth guys, I'm rocking 64 at the moment. You have a few different options you can use, to be honest. It's whatever you're comfortable with. Some people might prefer to use this 71 depth mechanic thing that people use. One thing I'll say about 71 depth though guys is if you're using this, I do recommend the most meta of defenders, because if you don't have like the absolute best of the best, like team of the year Van Dijk, you're going to struggle because your players are going to be getting they're going to be pressing out of position, and the attackers are just going to be too quick. So you're going to need the like absolute meta of players to play 71 depth, but you know, anything else is absolutely fine. I'm just rocking 64 at the moment, so still got like a high defensive line, but just use whichever number you are comfortable with. For the build-up play guys, we have this on balanced. I recommend this all the time because I think balanced is the most controlled when you are building up the play. So when you want to play slow you can. If you want to speed up and play a bit faster, you can also do that. So it lets you pick and choose when and where you use each type of build-up, if that makes sense. Now for the chance creation guys, we have this on direct passing. Now the reason direct passing is so important is because it's the only way to consistently create chances in the meta of this game. So FC24 is very park the bus space. You know, you're going to come up against those very defensive teams all the time, so it's important to use direct passing as it's the only setting which will allow you to break through that. Basically when you use direct passing, your attacking players will commit these runs, the opposition defender will follow the attacker making that run, and then your attacker will then track back once the defender has overcommitted so that you can cut back to them. So it's very like push forward, track back, push forward, track back. That's the kind of movements you get out of direct passing, but it's very important for the meta of this game, even if it is very boring. Another thing about direct passing guys is your attackers often bunch up against the opposition defenders, so you can take them on in those 1v1 type plays. So it is really boring to use but very effective, and you pretty much have to use it at this point. Now moving on to the width guys, I'm using 52 for the attack. Now even though this seems a little bit wide for a narrow formation, in FC24 you do just have to use a higher attacking width, because if you have your players too close together it's just too difficult to play through the middle because it becomes extremely congested with the defense. So you need to have a bit of width so you can get down the wing, or you know, just even play a little bit wider than you would normally, because otherwise you're going to struggle in the attack. That being said, if you want to lower or up the width because you're comfortable with different things, that is absolutely fine. For the players in the box guys, I'm using this on 6 at the moment. This is so we can get a few players into the box, but we don't overcommit absolutely everybody. This is a preference thing, you can do what you want with that. And then the corners and the free kicks guys, I use these on 1 at the moment, but again, you guys can do whatever you want with these. There's not really a specific setting that you have to use. Now moving on to the player instructions guys, to be honest with you, they've not really changed much since the last time, if anything has changed whatsoever, to be honest, because the player instructions are one of the main consistent things when it comes to tactics. You don't change them all that often because the ones that work are the ones that work, if that makes sense. So we're going to go through them anyway. But yeah, starting off with the striker, we have them on stay central and get in behind. Stay central is pretty important because we don't want these players drifting into the wider areas. They are a striker, so it is important that they are primarily in the middle to do their job. You'll struggle a bit more in attack, I think, if you don't have a striker in the middle, as you don't have that consistent focal point up top. We also have them on getting behind to utilize their pace to get in behind those defensive lines. I find this to be the best movement you can get out of the striker. That being said, if you're playing against a good opponent which is reading every run in behind and you want to switch it up, maybe just use mixed attack, as it helps you in the build up and maybe it's a little less predictable, but it's completely up to you. Now for the right forward, guys, we have them on stay central and getting behind for pretty similar reasons to the striker. Stay central, we have them on that because we want to keep them in the more narrow lanes. It puts them in a really awkward position where they can either go through the middle or then out wide. So it gives you multiple options as opposed to just sticking them right out wide because it's predictable. So having them on stay central puts them in those weird areas where you can take them out wide or keep them through the middle. Gives you a really nice attack. We also use them on getting behind as well, of course, so we can get the most out of this player and utilize their pace. For the left forward, guys, we just pop them on comeback on defense. Now this is important because it makes it defend in a 4-4-2 shape. So this player on comeback on defense will make it defend in a 4-4-2 because this player will come back to defend as a left midfielder. So in my case, Gakpo and Garrincha will defend as two strikers, and then Mallard will defend as a left mid, Dina Abimbe as a right mid, Rijkaard right centre mid, and Millet left centre mid, if that makes sense. So it's just really nice and defensively sound because the 4-4-2 is good at covering both the central areas and the wider areas with those two midfielders that we've got, the left mid and the right mid. For the left centre mid, guys, we pop them on the default settings and cover centre. This is my more box-to-box style midfielder, so we don't want to restrict them all that much. We kind of just let them do whatever they want to do. The only important thing is cover centre so that they primarily cover those central areas and defend as one of the two centre mids in that 4-4-2 shape. Moving on to the middle centre mid, guys, we use a more defensive-minded midfielder in Rijkaard, so somebody that's just going to stay back with this instruction, and then we also just pop them on cover centre. So like the other left centre mid, they will cover that central area as we don't need them to cover the wing, and it makes them defend as the second centre mid in the 4-4-2 shape. Now for the right centre mid, guys, because I said it defends in a 4-4-2, this player on the cover wing instruction will defend as the right midfielder. So since this player is more attacking, as we don't have to worry about their defensive stats as much because they're out wide, we can use an attacker here and we just pop them on get forward and get into the box across, as well as cover wing. It just gives us an extra attacker going forward, gives us more options, and it is really, really useful in my opinion. Now for the fullbacks, guys, at the moment I do just have one fullback on balanced overlap. This is the more attacking minded fullback, so whichever one is your most attacking one, pop them on balanced overlap as it gives you an extra option, stretches out your opponent's defense, and gives you a different angle when you are attacking. For the more defensive minded fullback, guys, stay back and overlap, so you always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, but when you send them on the run forward, they'll make the overlapping runs to add that extra width. If you want to do something else with the fullbacks, another thing I do sometimes is pop them both on stay back, so stay back while default, sorry, and then when I want to send them forward, I'll use the D-pad tactics to just trigger their runs, and then when I want them to defend again, I can just trigger them off. But it's just whatever you want to use, really. This is what we're using at the moment. For the 2 centre backs, of course, we leave them alone, and the keeper I also leave them alone. But yeah, guys, they are my tactics and instructions for the 4-3-2-1. If you guys have found this useful, please be sure to drop it a thumbs up. It does really, really help me out. Also sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.